You know,
Did you already press it?
yeah, for Halloween, I like to make haunted houses for since we were in San Antonio back in 94, 95 maybe, when David was one or less than one. We started making haunted houses and we've done it all the way up except for the last 2 years.
Except for the
this
last 2
year
years.
and this year. So, but next year we're starting up
And
again.
great haunted houses.
But let's kind of tell everybody a little bit of some of the stories that have happened to maybe some of our family members and things like that are real stories.
Yeah, well, I remember it was 1976 because that's when my grandmother passed away. Yeah. Our grandmother passed away.
Yeah. So I'm not adopted? That's good.
What do you mean you're not a doctor?
No, adopted.
Oh. Oh, I'm not a doctor? Okay, you're not a doctor. No, and I remember Mom running to us and rushing us into the car and get in the car. And we didn't know exactly what was happening. And we got in the car and we drove a few blocks, and right in the corner of Corpus Christi and Bartlett, we had an accident. And after the accident, you would expect to go home, right? So after that, we went to my aunt's house, to Blanca's house, to the Rigal's house. And at that night, I remember Mom telling us that she saw her mother. She was cleaning Diana's room, our sister. She was cleaning Diana's room, and when she turned towards the closet door was open. It was those sliding kind of doors. And that she was in the closet, and that she was telling her, Ben. And she got super scared, and that's why she got us all, took us in the car and left.
Well, and that's goosebumps, man. And then about 10 years later, our nephew actually told us a story not too long ago, last Easter, where he was actually in that same room, and he actually saw my other grandmother in the same closet doing the same thing.
What nephew? Oh.
Bo. He actually saw. I don't know if you remember that story that he told you, but
I didn't recall that.
He actually saw our other grandmother doing the same thing in the same closet.
It must be that Diana was evil.
Something's
going on.
That was weird.
And that was weird. That was weird.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember the time when we were sitting upstairs, and we were both watching TV. We were the only ones home, and we heard someone running up the stairs, and it sounded exactly like Dad.
Yes, I remember that.
Okay?
I remember that.
And we waited for a minute, and no one opened the door.
I know. We looked at each other. I remember that.
And we looked at each other like, and I told you, no, come on, because I'm a little older. No, come on, we're going down to check. And no one was home.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was
scary. There was another thing at home that happened to you actually with while you were showering.
Oh, yeah, it was one morning. Because at that time, in high school, you didn't have to go in for the first class. You would sign up for the different classes. So I don't think I would go until about 9:30 or something. So everyone would leave the house, except sometimes Dad, since he was a principal. Sometimes he didn't leave that early.
Yeah.
And so I was taking a shower, and I hear it was those hollow doors, and you could tell how people are knocking. You know, if they're knocking with their knuckles, you know, if they're knocking with one finger. Yeah. And it was like a hard one finger knock, dunk. But I had shampoo in my hair, I had soap. So I said, wait. Started getting it off. And I got the towel, and when I got the towel, I heard it again. So I wrapped the towel around me, and I opened the door, and there wasn't anyone there. I went to my room, no one was home anymore. Got dressed and got out of there quick. I mean, that was pretty scary. And you know that I also remember that same day, I was walking and I was going by Lamar, and a bus driver picked me up and told me, "You going to Nixon?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to Nixon." He picked me up and took me to Nixon.
Thank you.
So it must have been, I must have been a sophomore, the first semester, because it was before February. Because in February I got a car.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember when we were kids, and we never talked about this until we were older, but remember we had 2 deer in our room?
And I don't know why we never would say anything. If we thought it, why wouldn't... One of them had a tag.
One of them had a tag.
The other one didn't have a tag.
Right.
And some days you would go in and it seemed as if the other one had the tag, and you would look at it and say, wait,
right.
The other one had the tag.
And it would be like, that one had the tag, and then the next day it would be like, okay, that one has the tag. It's like, it just kept on switching.
It kept on switching. And actually, sometimes I would think that they were facing one way, and then they were facing the other way. But that was not as much as with the tag.
That was weird, because I mean, it happened to you, it happened to me. We never talked about it until we were older, and then we said, yeah, that would happen to me too, and it would switch back and forth and back and forth. That was a little odd.
Yeah, that was odd. That was scary.
After Dad passed away, there was a couple of stories. One of them when Mom was trying to go into the house, and there was a car parked outside, and she tried to open the door, and the door would not open. The front door just wouldn't open, and then finally she was able to push through, and a gust of wind came towards her, and he said her name. And so then she went inside, and then she came back out and confronted the people that were in the car. She got brave and went out there and confronted them and asked what they were doing, and they were like, "Oh, we're looking for a certain address or house," and they were like, "Well, it's not here, so take off,"
Nice.
And so she thought maybe it was Dad protecting her from somebody that may have been inside the house at that time, that may have gotten out.
Well, no, this one had happened when Dad was still alive. They would sleep upstairs, and you could hear footsteps every once in a while, right?
Right.
But Mom was in the bed asleep, and she actually felt like a breath on her. And I guess she wasn't that asleep. She woke up and she actually went to the bathroom, and she felt as if something was following her.
Wow.
And no, she was pretty scared. Like even the next morning, like she was telling me what had happened, and you could see that she was scared.
Yeah, that's scary.
That's scary.
Like when you're not used to it, things like that happening. Something like that happened to me not that long ago. Is that when I was a kid, I used to sleep on Dad's arm a lot, and one day I decided I was sleeping in a different room at the house, and when I was lying down,
You were like 12, right?
no, this is like recent, like right now, man. But it's like
no, when you would sleep on Dad's arm.
Oh no, probably 11. I don't know. But I felt his arm, and as if he was there all night long, and so that was a really long night. But I just like, that's fine. And then finally the night was over, and it was over. But that was a weird occurrence.
And in the room downstairs, the one that was our room, right? It was Mom's and then ours and then Diana's, right? In our room, when our Uncle Popo lived there,
Oh yeah.
he would have stories of that he couldn't open the door, that somebody would tug the door from the other side, and it was difficult for him to open the door. One morning, then he woke up with his eyebrow shaved halfway, and he said that someone did it, and it looked weird because he had big eyebrows. So one of them was shaved halfway, and like he said, no, and he would tell you these things.
Was that while he was there at the house?
They're at the house.
Yeah,
They're in my
I kind of
room.
remember
In
him.
my room, yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
You still no, you might have been in college. I don't know.
No,
you were there. You were there.
Yeah.
He would wake up very early in the morning. He would wake up very early in the morning, and by the time we would wake up, the trees were painted white or green or whatever. All those chairs that we had were painted, even the fence sometimes, right? And he would water the grass every morning. He was like a morning person, no matter how dark it was or whatever.
Yeah.
And if he would go outside, and the neighbor would go outside, but the neighbor, I'm telling you, the neighbor would go outside and they would talk to each other for a while, right?
Yeah.
And one day, when we were there at the table, he started telling Mom, yeah, okay, the other day I was talking to the neighbor, and okay, he was telling me, I don't remember exactly what he said he was telling him, and Mom told him, no, he passed away. He's not. No,
The corner house.
Yes, no. He said, no. I was talking to him. He was there. No, he wasn't there. He passed away.
Well, there was a family that lived there after the rest of the family moved out, and they moved, that decided to leave that house because they would always see a fat man in the kitchen there, and of course, he was a big man. He was a heavy man that lived there. And so that's why they decided to leave, because they would always see him there.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So yeah, the house had some stories. Do you remember the story that our sister told us about Dad calling her after he was dead, and she had the message on the phone?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I remember that message.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he kind of said his name. So there was, I think, something that happened. Somebody was in an accident.
We all kept that message on a phone. But what phone would we have had back then?
Yeah, well, it was on the phone, but if you remember, so something happened
That it
to one of her kids. He was in an accident or something, and then they were trying to reach Diana, and then actually they got a message from Dad, who had already passed away. And his name came out, so she called Mom right away, and then go, okay, this is what's going on. And then she kept that message on forever until Mom passed away, and then the message erased. And then, the message.
But
erased.
I remember that we all wanted to keep the message, but you change phones so often.
Yeah, but no, that time the message erased after Mom had passed, so that was a little odd.
Yeah, no, I
a lot of weird
remember
things. If talking about Bo also, he's had some encounters with supernatural stuff, I guess. When he was in San Antonio, staying at a hotel, and Mom was taking care of him, and they were at this hotel, and he loved swimming when he was a kid.
No, they would take him to hotels just to swim.
Yeah, just to swim. And so he went swimming, and then, as Mom told us, when he was down there swimming, he actually saw a little girl that was down there, and he described her. And then the security officer came, and they described it. They said there's a girl down there, and he said that she had drowned the day before.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual.
I don't know. I guess a lot of these things, they don't come back to memory until you start talking about it again.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But one of the Alpha Cavers also had a little incident one time. The one that likes to talk about money and.
Yeah, and we had just moved in. We had just moved into this house.
Yeah.
We had just gotten here, and of course, what we like to do when we move into a house, we put the cross on top of the front door. We put a little cross on each bedroom, on top of the door in each bedroom, and we've always done that. So the crosses in the bedrooms, the one in the front of the door goes on with a nail, right? That's a big cross. Mm-hmm. But the ones in the rooms are small wooden crosses, and we put Velcro on them.
Yeah. And
Velcro is pretty difficult to take off. Sometimes you can't even take it off on your phone. And we put the crosses up in all the rooms. And Carlos, one day, we were there, and like he came out and told us, who was hitting my door? He said, I didn't hit his door. My wife Cindy wouldn't hit his door. Nobody hit the door. And actually, they hit the door so hard, and that the cross did fall off. And he would say, "No, you hit the door really hard." And I tell you, the cross came out. And even though this house is new, I don't know. Dad would always tell me, it doesn't matter you're the first ones that live in the house. Sometimes with the wood that they make the house, if there was deaths and you can, you know, I don't know, through the wood when the trees are growing or whatever.
Yeah.
But we always hear footsteps here. And a nephew and a niece would come in and they would also hear the footsteps. And so they named the spirit or whatever it is, Marta. Oh, it's Marta. Oh, it's Marta.
No. Don't name them. No, don't do that.
But you can hear the footsteps clearly. Now that we have a dog, and if we don't bring her outside, we'll take her out to the garage and we'll feed her and play with her in the garage. And Cristella's room's right above that. So one day I was there with her and I thought Cristela had gotten home. I heard the footsteps upstairs and then it went quiet. Again I heard the footsteps. I thought, call Cristela. Hey Cristela, are you home? No, I'm not home. I'm still at work. Oh boy. So and I don't think we've told Carlos. I think Cristela might have mentioned it again, because I told her the other day, I've always heard footsteps, and you can hear them clearly. But there was another day, and Cristela and I were playing with Chloe, and I was telling her, yeah, I knew that you weren't here.
Chloe's the dog.
Oh yeah, Chloe's a dog. Okay,
Damn.
yeah. And I was telling her, yeah, I heard doors closing. I heard doors closing like twice. And I don't know, and so she goes, did you already tell Mom about it? No, Leo, I hadn't told Mom or anything. But you hear things. But now I'm protected because Cindy has all these wind blowers and the ceiling fan going and a fan going, and I don't even hear the doorbell in that room. So that's good. No.
Yeah. You know, we have tons of other stories also, but we'll probably make another video of some ghost stories of other places and other people that have had some stories that that's happened to them, and there's a few that are really good and scary. But you know, if anybody else has ghost stories, write them in there, man.
Yeah.
We want to hear some of those, and we'll try to tell them.
There was some that I would tell my students, but I don't want to use names and I don't want to use those situations.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's some of the things you have to be careful what you're talking about, I guess. Yeah. But hey, man, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Ooh. Next year we're gonna have the haunted house again. It's gonna be fun. All right, guys, take care.